So I left the university system partly because I would do things like I would put on a title slide and I'd have slides behind it. There's about another 30 slides behind this. But I'd adapt to the situation and I'd use one slide and I'd test myself. I could talk for 2 hours without using any of the slides. Now, to extemporize like that, I don't mean to be immodest, but that's quite a skill. The safety blanket is I knew there were slides behind. So I wasn't, flying without a parachute. But then the university administrators would say, where are your notes? And I said, well, I extemporized for 2 hours. I don't have any, bugger off. And the students would complain, didn't get any notes. Was it a good lecture? It was a bloody good lecture, but where are the notes? Because you write the notes. You listen to my lapidary words of wisdom. You write notes, and they are your notes.
That's an appalling change. When did that
It
happen?
was just why I left. And initially, they never filmed us, which for legal reasons I was very glad about. And then, and they said, because we voted as a department, we weren't to be filmed. And then they got round it, the administrators, by saying there will be people with needs who can't write notes, which, why are you at university? I don't mean to be cruel, but I don't play for Liverpool first team, because look at me. So why does someone rock up to a university expecting to do high-level work when they're mentally not capable? But that's how the system changed. So we then had to be filmed. And within 3 minutes, I'd be in front of the university legal team. It wasn't going to work. I can't. Ed, you wouldn't be 3 minutes. No, it's Big Brother. You were being filmed, everything you said. And you get in a room, I will make a joke, and I get a sense, probably wrongly, that you can take the joke. Or you'll look uncomfortable, and then I adapt and say, I'm sorry, and I'll make a different joke that'll be even worse. But the point is, anyone watching that doesn't see the audience, doesn't see the context, doesn't see how it was meant, doesn't see how it was received by the person. Often they were fine. But it takes one little scrote, fee-paying scrote, I used to think of them as, who would report you.
And the thing is, they pay fees. That's the worst thing. Because when I was at university 20 years ago, it was £1,000 a year. Obviously, mummy and daddy pay that. And so there is a sense in which you're like a student at a private school, and you're humble, and the lecturers know better than you. But once you're paying whatever appalling amount it is now, £9,000 a year or more, you're a customer, and you have the right to, I'm offended, I don't like this, I don't want to be told my beliefs are wrong. And your beliefs are wrong, frankly. If you're 18, you've done A-levels, most of what you think is bollocks. And indeed, most of what most people think is bollocks.
Well, can I give you an example, a very specific example? I was a visiting student in University of Pennsylvania in 1987 to 1988, and it was a scholarship, so there was an exchange scheme. 15 Americans came to Edinburgh, 15 people at Edinburgh University went to U of Penn. And when I went, it would have been, but I didn't have to pay it, $18,000 a year, just for fees. So think about the living costs. Now, I think it's around about $90,000 a year. If you're doing medicine, much higher. $90,000 a year. And Mark might have a better idea, but it's in that ballpark. And you're doing a 4-year course. You're coming out of university, if you're lucky, with $500,000 in debt. So I didn't mean to be disparaging about fee-paying scrote. What I do mean, though, is when education becomes a commodity, when it's a paid exchange, I don't want to make too gross comparisons.
It's sophistry. It's what Plato said. It's sophistry.
Yeah. It changes the relationship. It's no longer an educational relationship. It's a commercial exchange. And that profoundly ruins it. It's not the student's fault.
It's Tony Blair's fault.
Although the parents, I was saying before, the parents do turn up on open days and they're the only ones who ask any questions. And I'm like, you're sending your supposed adult youngster to a university. And then the day I gave up, I'm sharing far too much. The day I gave up was the day I gave up was when a mother phoned to say why her son hadn't done his essay. And I said, did I give you the essay to do, madam? And she said, no. I said, well, I have nothing to say to you. And there was a complaint in the department. And that was the...
What, because you've been rude to a student's mum?
I wasn't rude.
Not even rude.
I just said, this is not the relationship. I have a relationship with your son in an educational sense, I hasten to add. And I will talk to him about his education.
That's
I will
incredible.
not talk to you.
It's become a creche. I know this.
But she had that attitude because he's not paying his fees. She was. And that changes the dynamic. So I've got sympathy for the parents. The whole, it was what you're saying about systems. Everyone gets entangled in this mechanism.